Shalom, shalom. Another Wisdom Wednesday, right? Another class, another lesson. As y'all can tell by the title of this video, um, this is called I Don't Like His Form, right? Get him out the game, coach. Sit him on the bench. I don't like his form, right? And this video is really just going to be about delivery, right? Um, Coming into the truth, a lot of times, Galatians 4:16 comes into play. Galatians 4:16 says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" Right? Because a lot of us, we don't hold back when we first get in, and we don't care if you're a spouse, if you're a child, if you're a parent, a best friend for 10 years. We don't care who you are. We just kind of shoot from the hip and give you this truth, right? And a lot of times, um, that delivery is not the best, right? But that is not an excuse for people to not accept the truth. For example, just because I named the title of this video this, right? I want to, bring a few things to light. Now, when you think about basketball, right? I bring up basketball a lot because I play basketball. But when you think about basketball, you think about shooting form. Now you have some textbook shooters out there. They got the gooseneck. You don't know what the gooseneck is. That's when you shoot and you follow through, it looks like a gooseneck. They got the gooseneck, right? And what the gooseneck is textbook form, right? They have you line up your elbow. You have the textbook form that all coaches teach their kids, or dads try to teach their sons or their daughters, or when they go to these camps, they try to learn the textbook form. But we do know that there are some anomalies. There are some backyard hoopers. There are some open gym ballers. Shalom to the brother.
Shalom.
There are some open gym ballers, right, that can play basketball and their form is terrible, right? But a lot of times they'll get put on these teams and they'll make the team because they're killing everything in practice and tryouts. But when they get on the team, they don't get any playing time because the coach says, I don't like his form, right? We think about LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, I said a lot of people did not like his form, right? A lot of people didn't like his older brother Lonzo Ball's form, right? But how many do you guys know that if it ain't broke, you're not supposed to fix it, right? If it's the truth, it's the truth. If it's gonna go through that net, it's gonna go through that net. Who cares if the form is not right, right? If it's working and it's helping the team win, we gotta use it, right? So a personal example of myself, I know coming up playing basketball, when I was in middle school, my coach, he told me that I was doing my layups wrong. He either wanted me to go overhand or underhand. I can't remember. I think I was doing everything underhand for my layups, and he wanted me to go overhand. Came back, told my dad, and my dad wasn't happy about it. My dad came to practice and told him, "Hey, don't change my son's form on anything." Blah blah blah. And that's because if you change somebody's form, you changing the player. A lot of times, players can't bounce back from that. We see all-time greats like Stephen Curry. He changed his form in his young adult career, and it worked out for him. But some people, they don't bounce back from it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But without further ado, we're gonna get into these scriptures, man, to back this up. I'm Azrael of the Hopeful Elect. This is a Wisdom Wednesday. We want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by the way of His Son, who was sent as an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? And with me on right now is brother
Denal.
Khan, right? And let's just get straight into it, man. I got a few precepts. We shouldn't take that long on this Wednesday, fourth day of the week. But let's get into it, right? Mark chapter 1 and verse 22.
Come, Mark 1 and 22. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one that had authority, and not as scribes.
Right. So in this situation or this scenario, scribes would be that textbook shooter. Scribes would be who all the coaches and parents want you to shoot like and what they want to see in the gym, right? That gooseneck, right? Everybody's used to the scribes. Everybody loves the scribes because they do it the cleanest, right? They fit the part, they look the part, right? But they don't astonish anybody, right? It's the ones that are out of the norm that astonish people, that get the attention of people. When you look at people like Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball, right? Their shots, not only did it work for them, but it drew attention. That one person that doesn't have the textbook form, the one thing he's going to do is stand out from the rest. He's not going to be like the other sheep. He's going to be that black sheep, and he's going to draw attention, right? Now that attention could be good or bad, but over here in the truth, right? If we're thinking from our aspect, it's going to be good attention because, we're telling people about the truth, whether they want to hear or forbear, right? No matter what delivery you give, if it's getting people's attention, keep doing what you're doing, right? And a lot of times we start hating on people because we don't like their delivery, even inside the truth. But hey, like we said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If it's working for one man, don't offend that little sheep, like the Bible says, right? Don't offend that sheep. Just let that man keep doing what he's doing, because if they're whether they're for us or against us, as long as the name of Christ is in their mouth, hey, the Most High is getting the reverence, right? It's a proof of that he is alive and he's living, right? This is Mark chapter 6 and verse 6.
Come, and he marveled because of their unbelief, and he went around about the villages teaching.
Right? And sometimes some people aren't going to believe in your form, right? Some people aren't going to believe in your form. And you're going to marvel like, man, how they not believers and I can't miss, right? And that's how a lot of us are when we come into truth. How they not believing, just they talk about my delivery, but how they not believing what I'm telling them? Nothing I'm saying can be refuted. Nothing I'm saying can be confounded. Nothing I'm saying can be proved wrong. How,
Gainsay.
right? How can they gainsay against me? Right? Everything I'm saying is the truth, but all about delivery and how it looks on the outside. That's how you know when a person is not um, teachable and is not spiritually discerned, and they're spiritually blind because they don't get it. They're in unbelief, right? But you got to keep doing you. You got to keep shooting, man. You got to keep going around the villages teaching, right? Let's get Acts 4 and 13.
Come. Now, when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Jesus.
Right? So, hey, sometimes, man, you're gonna be perceived as ignorant because of the stuff that you say, right? And how you say it. You're gonna have people marvel at you and think that you're unlearned, right? When you see that person with bad shooting form, you think they're unlearned, that they don't know the game of basketball, they don't take it serious, right? You don't you they get picked last on the team, right? And a lot of times when you come in this truth, you get picked last on the team. You get picked last to Islam, get picked last to Christianity. You get picked last to the universe and crystals. You get picked last, man, to Egyptology and the 5%ers. You get picked last when you become an Israelite. Let's be honest. But if it's the truth, man, you just gotta keep pushing. Don't change your form up. Don't change your form up. Don't change your beliefs up, right? If it's working for you and your family, and you bringing people to the truth, keep doing you, right? Let's go to Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. You're on mute, sir.
Salakia. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Right?
After
Because That's all it is. Shooting form is just philosophy. Somebody said you're supposed to shoot like this. And so everybody started shooting like that. Who was the person that came up with that? I don't know. We could go to Google, but that's beside the point, right? Somebody comes up with a philosophy and everybody else follows suit, right? And it's all vain deceit. It's just to make you feel like you're doing the right thing, deceive you into think you're doing the right thing. Your shot can be broke. You can have the right shooting form, but you don't make no buckets. But you feel good because you look the part. You look like a player. You look like a shooter. That's vain deceit, right? It says after the tradition of men, right? That's all it is, the tradition of men. Do you want to follow the tradition of men, man? Or do you want to be different? Because Christ is calling all of us to be different, right? After the rudiments of this world, after the rudiments of all the coaches and coaching staffs and all the videos and all the studies, right? You worried about the world and what the world looks like on the outside, right? Not knowing that, hey, man, you got the truth. You making the buckets. Ain't nothing wrong with your form just because it looked different. Ain't nothing wrong with your delivery just because it may be a little more powerful and straight to the point, right? And not after Christ, right? Let's get this next verse.
Mark 7:8. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such things ye do.
Right. So he's talking to the scribes, he's talking to the Pharisees, right? And they claim that they're keeping the commandments of God, but they're really not. He's saying, man, you guys think you keep the commandments, right? If you go back and read Mark 7, you think you keeping the commandments, but you putting aside his commandments for your tradition, right? You're right. You're supposed to be making buckets, right? But you put that aside just to look the part. Yeah, I know I could have made 20 points, but I'm cool with this. I'm cool with these 5 points because at least I looked the part. That sounds crazy, right? Go ahead and make the 20 points. Who cares if you look like a ball hog? Who cares if you was a little aggressive? Who cares if you was, what I'm saying, didn't have the best form, right?
True story. We know a brother. He's actually in the truth now. His role, right, from the head coach was to shoot the ball. That's all the coach wanted him to do. Every time he said, "Hey, brother, brother so and so. Every time you touch the ball in the game, shoot it." That's literally was his job, and he got taken out the game every single time he got put in, that guy, because for some reason he felt offended that was his role. So every time he touched the ball, he either drove it to the rim or he passed it, right? I'm not gonna flame the brother. I wasn't. But needless to say, right, the commandment of God right there is for every time you touch this ball, you shoot it, right? And then the tradition of men was, hey, I can do other things. I can do other things. I don't always have to shoot. I can pass. I can do all these other things, but instead of doing what's called for and what's important.
Right. God sees what he wants for you like a coach would sometimes,
Right.
but sometimes you can get in your own way and say, no, but the people want to know that I can play basketball. They want to know that I got that pump fake and drive to the basket game.
Not only that, you got to understand his ways is higher than our ways, right? So he wants you to shoot the ball and you want to pass or you want to drive, not knowing that he wants somebody else to do that. So
right.
Now you in somebody else's way.
Right. And so you got to also stop looking at other people, because that's all that boils down to. Right. You got to look at other people and what they're doing and then look at what you're doing. Right. And that's a good gauge of character, because, like in the situation the brother Denal just said, you might be doing somebody else's job and you might not be doing it as good as them. And that just throws the whole thing out of alignment, right? The whole gospel out of alignment, right? So stick to your role, right? Don't change up because other people are watching, or you want a good rapport from other people. You want to sit at the table with the long garment and the enlarged borders. Don't switch it up, right? Just to be accepted, right? Do what you are meant to do, what you were designed to do. how you were designed to do it. God gave you your God gave you your dialect. He gave you your twang in your talk. He gave you your slang in your talk. He gave you that limp in your walk, right? He gave you uh the hand gestures that you use when you talk, right? He gave you all that. So don't try to emulate something that's not you, right? Keep your form. Your form is pure form, because guess what? The Most High said, I make the dumb, I make the deaf, I make alive, I make dead. I got the power to do all these things. Right? He had to tell Moses, I'll give you your brother Aaron, but bruh, I picked you for a reason. Ain't nothing wrong with your form. You think so, but I made you that way. All right. Let's get this next one. 2 Peter 2:19.
Con. While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought into bondage.
Right. Hold up. I don't think that's what I wanted. Let me see some. Slovakia. Right. I don't think that's what I wanted. But I mean, looking at it, I can stretch it. Sometimes, reading this Bible, you can get witty with your words, right? It says, while they promise them liberty, sometimes, they give you the liberty or a false sense of freedom to do what you want. But then they critique it so much, and then they twist it up, and then they tell you got to go to this school, you got to get this degree, right? It's not really liberty. They got you on a chain. Then it says they themselves are the servants of corruption, meaning guess what? They doing it for the wrong reasons. And if you following the servants of corruption, you yourself are gonna be corrupt, right? Let's get Jeremiah.
Man,
Go ahead.
to speak on that too, right? If you can you go back or not? Hit that backspace button.
No, I had exited out.
Oh, okay. But yeah, just saying, man. A lot of that is like I think like that speaking to like the traditions of men of today's time, right? So they uphold things like if you drink at all, that's a sin, right? When that's not really a commandment. It's the commandment is to not be a drunkard, right? They say, stuff like cursing or cussing, right? Now we know it might not be black and white in the scriptures, but we know it's frowned upon. But there's certain things in this Bible that colloquial Christians uphold more than the actual commandments that are black and white in the Bible. And those would be called traditions of men as well. So as the Christian church would say to you that they're giving you liberty, they're also children of corruption. Why? Because they uphold those traditions that they want to uphold and take serious. But when it comes to things in the Bible, like not like the dietary law and things of that nature, right? They corrupt. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They praise God with their mouth, but with their actions, they're far away from Him. You know what I'm saying? They gonna do what they want to do, how they see fit, because they feel like they know a better way to serve God than God Himself. Over and over and over again, we on the street corner, and we'll tell people on the street corner, hey, but the Bible say this. I don't care what the Bible say. That's not what God meant. How are you gonna tell God what He meant when He clearly said what He said? Right. And a lot of our brothers and sisters will give into that type of teaching and that kind of rhetoric and that kind of talk, and they'll fall right in line with these people and just celebrate Christmas just because. I believe this image just because. I'll sing this song just because. They don't even know what they believe in or talk about, right? But we know what we worship, right? You worship, you know not what, but we worship, we know what we worship, right? This is Jeremiah 23:1. It says, "Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastors, saith the Lord." Why? Because these pastors are teaching people to be docile. They're teaching the people to shut up. Hey, just do what we say. Don't ask questions. You ask your questions. You ask your pastor, was Jesus black? That doesn't matter. Why are you asking those questions? Right? They're scattering the flock. They're not giving the truth. They're not giving the answer. And they're too worried about their delivery. They're too worried about looking cool because they know somebody might be recording them and they get posts on social media. They're too worried about getting more members so their church can get more money. Right? They're too worried about all those things. So guess what? They're going to be worried about the form too much. Right? But God called us to not worry about the form. Right? They were astonished at the disciples. They were astonished at Christ's teachings, right? But they worked, and they had a big following because of it, and they won many souls through evangelism. The word evangelize or evangel just means gospel, right? Evangelion, right? In the Greek, I believe, right? So that's what we got to do, man. Keep spreading this gospel the way we know how to, right? The way it came to you, right? When you came into this truth, that might be what God gave to you to get to somebody else. But if you switch it up, you might not get to who you're supposed to get to, right? This is the last precept. 1 Corinthians 1:27.
But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise.
Right? That ugly jumper, that ugly jump shot, it confound that it could be ugly, but you put a hand up and try to guard it, it's going in every time. And that defensive player, he's doing what? He's like shaking his head. He's like, I don't know how to stop this. I don't know what's going on. The coach on the other team is looking like that's not supposed to go in, right?
Y'all seen those memes of Caitlin Clark playing against Haley Van Lith, right? And Caitlin Clark is just firing her up. And every time she hits a shot on Haley Van Lith, Haley Van Lith does this right here. She goes, she don't know what to do. You know, there's a phrase that defenders say when somebody gets hot and you can't stop them. They say, nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, man. And that's literally when we come into the truth and we learn this knowledge and this wisdom. It's nothing people can do about it, right? They might not like our form, but that ball going in the court, it's going in the rim every time. They might not like how we shoot the ball, but that ball going in. They might not like our delivery. They might not like our form on the side of the street. They might not like how we read the Bible with a reader and somebody to break it down. They might not like it. But one thing for sure, they learning. Whether they debating with us or not, they learning. And they know that we're not getting confounded. They might not like that ugly jumper, but it's working. And before they know it, they getting blown out in that basketball game, and there's no way to win it. And they just have to concede and say, you know what? I was wrong. You were right. And that's why it's important to keep our form. If we want to win the game, we got to keep the form that God's given to us. Even if the world says, I don't like his form, I don't like her form. Right? But if the brother doesn't have anything, that's all I got, man.
Mighty lesson.
Come on, man. It's been another Wisdom Wednesday. Lord willing, we'll get back here for Think About It Thursday. If the brothers don't got nothing, I think I got something lined up. But come on, man, around the same time, Lord willing. Brother Azrael.
Brother Donald.
And if you're not gathering, you scattering. Shalom.